Welcome to the Deep Dive podcast. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Warren Buffett.
The Oracle of Omaha.
That's right, the Oracle of Omaha.
Yeah.
And we're going to be focusing on the things that are...
The achievements.
The achievements, exactly.
Yeah.
Especially for those of us between 25 and 55.
Yeah, trying to figure it all out.
Yeah. Figure out how to be successful.
Right.
And I'm so glad you're here to help break it all down.
Well, it's a fascinating story.
It is. It's almost unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know he's a financial genius, but do you know he was buying and selling stocks at 11 years old?
It's incredible.
11. Like, not Pokemon cards?
No.
Stocks.
Real stocks?
He even filed a tax return for his paper route.
Wow.
That's not your average kid.
No, it's not.
What do you think that tells us?
I think it tells us that he had a financial mind even way back then.
Yeah.
Like way before most kids are even thinking about that kind of stuff.
Right.
But also he was thinking systematically.
Yeah.
Like he was thinking about, okay, well, if I'm going to make money, I got to figure out the taxes too.
Right.
So that just shows like a real...
Forward thinking,
a real systematic way of thinking.
Yeah. And get this.
Okay.
He wanted to skip college.
Oh, really?
Just go straight into business.
Wow.
And part of me is like, wow, what confidence.
Yeah.
But the other part of me is like, would that even have worked?
It's a great question.
Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, college gives you a breadth of knowledge.
Right.
But, Buffett was already so focused on what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
He did end up getting degrees.
Yeah.
But he always valued practical knowledge.
Right.
So it's like he understood that, the textbook stuff was important.
Yeah.
But it was the real world experience that was really going to teach him what he needed to know.
Right. It's like he was treating the world as his classroom.
Exactly. Like his real classroom.
Yeah. And, even somebody as driven as Buffett.
Right.
He still needed some guidance.
Right. Absolutely.
He really admired Benjamin Graham.
Oh, of course.
Like this famous investor who basically created value investing.
Right.
And Buffett even offered to work for him for free.
That's amazing.
So how big a role do you think that mentorship played in his journey?
I think it was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, Graham's philosophy of value investing,
right?
Finding these undervalued companies with huge potential, that became like the bedrock of Buffett's investment strategy.
Yeah.
And it shows that even geniuses need mentors.
Yeah.
They need people who can guide them,
yeah.
who have been there and done that. And I think that's a really important lesson.
It is.
For anybody who wants to be successful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So speaking of changing things up.
Okay.
Berkshire Hathaway.
Right.
This wasn't like some, hot news startup.
No.
It was a failing textile company.
Right.
When he took it over.
Yeah.
And he turned it into this powerhouse.
Amazing.
This massive holding company.
Yeah.
How on earth did he manage that?
Well, I mean, I think it was his ability to see value where other people just saw problems. Yeah. Decline.
Yeah.
And he diversified, he moved into insurance.
Right.
He used that cash flow to fuel his investments.
Right.
But I think it's more than just smart moves.
Okay.
It's about this long-term vision.
Yeah.
It's about holding companies for decades and letting them grow.
Right.
And of course, his partnership with Charlie Munger.
Right.
I mean, that's
a whole other
chapter.
Yeah, their partnership is legendary.
It is.
And speaking of long-term vision,
yeah,
we can't forget Coca-Cola.
Right.
One of his most famous investments.
Yeah.
He held on to it for decades.
Decades.
What does that tell you about his strategy?
I think it shows his belief in strong brands. In companies that just keep delivering.
Keep delivering, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder that sometimes the best move is not to do anything.
Really?
Yeah, just to hold on.
Just hold on.
Let it grow.
Wow.
Let time do its work.
Okay, but even Buffett had to face some serious storms.
Oh, yeah.
Like in 2008.
The financial crisis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone was panicking.
Everyone.
How did he navigate that?
Right.
Even the Oracle of Omaha had some criticism then.
He did.
Yeah.
2008 was brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, even Berkshire Hathaway felt the hit.
Right.
But this is where his contrarian thinking really shines.
Okay.
He saw opportunity where other people just saw fear.
Right.
So he bought preferred stock in struggling giants like Goldman Sachs. GE basically saying, I believe these companies are going to bounce back.
Wow.
He was buying when everyone else was selling.
Right.
That takes guts.
Yeah.
It takes conviction.
Yeah.
And it takes a deep understanding of market cycles. That's what they call keeping a cool head.
That's right.
Okay, now shifting gears a bit.
Okay.
He's known for giving away over 99% of his wealth.
It's incredible.
That's insane. Why is he so focused on giving back?
I think it speaks to his belief in using wealth for good.
Yeah.
He's partnered with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Right.
Tackling these big issues like global health and poverty.
Yeah.
And I think it shows that his definition of success goes beyond just personal gain.
Yeah.
It's about leaving the world a better place.
It is.
Than you found it.
Right.
And I think that's a powerful message for all of us.
Absolutely. And that wraps up part 1 of our deep dive into Warren Buffett.
Wow.
From chewing gum to billions.
Yeah.
His journey is incredible.
It is.
But it's more than just the money.
Right.
It's about the mindset, the strategy, and leaving a mark on the world.
Absolutely.
And we've only scratched the surface.
That's right.
There's so much more to uncover, so stay tuned. Because in part 2, we're going even deeper into the strategies and decisions that made Buffett a legend.
Yeah.
So stick around.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive Podcast. We are still in the world of Warren Buffett, trying to learn from the Oracle of Omaha himself.
And there's so much to learn.
There really is, especially for those of us kind of navigating the world of investing, trying to build something that lasts.
Absolutely.
Okay, so speaking of investing, Buffett's a huge fan of index funds, right?
Yeah.
Especially for those of us who aren't, financial wizards.
Right.
Why is he so into them?
Well, I think it's that deceptive simplicity that's actually really brilliant.
Okay.
He gets that most people just can't beat the market consistently.
Right.
An index fund, it tracks something broad.
Yeah, like the S&P 500.
The S&P 500, exactly. It's like a bet on the overall economy.
Yeah.
So you're not trying to pick individual winners.
Right.
Lower fees, less stress.
Yeah.
It's a pretty solid approach for most people.
So he's basically saying, don't try to be a hero, just ride the wave.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
He's also pointed out how Wall Street often makes more money than the average investor.
Right.
So I think index funds are kind of his way of democratizing investing.
I like that.
Making it accessible and sensible.
It's almost anti-establishment coming from such an establishment figure.
It is kind of ironic, isn't it?
It is. And, speaking of anti-establishment, he famously avoided using investment banks for Berkshire Hathaway deals.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, it's classic Buffett.
Okay.
He's independent.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't like middlemen.
Right.
He probably sees those fees as just dragging down his returns.
Yeah.
He trusts his own analysis.
Right.
His own team. He believes in keeping things lean. And plus, cutting out the Wall Street circus probably lets him focus on the long game. Yeah. Not quarterly pressures.
Right. Like he's not playing by anyone else's rules.
Exactly.
Which I guess is how you become a legend.
I think so.
So for someone worth billions,
yeah,
he's surprisingly frugal.
Yeah.
Still lives in the same house he bought back in the 50s.
That's right.
Modest salary. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's core to who he is.
Okay.
His wealth hasn't changed his values.
Wow.
He's not flashy, doesn't need to prove anything,
right.
It's almost like a philosophical statement about what truly matters to him.
Yeah.
Spending time with his family, playing bridge,
right.
following his Nebraska football. That's where he finds his joy.
Right.
Not in accumulating stuff.
Yeah, it's a good reminder for all of us.
It is. What really matters.
Totally. Success isn't about the stuff.
Right.
It's about how you live your life.
Exactly.
Okay, so speaking of how he lives.
Okay.
This guy's crazy about bridge.
He is, yeah.
Plays it for hours.
Yeah, Bill Gates is even his bridge buddy.
Really?
Yeah.
Why bridge?
Well, bridge is all about strategy.
Okay.
Probability, reading people. It's like a microcosm of investing in business.
Right.
I think it just sharpens those mental muscles that he's so famous for.
Right. And, even geniuses need to relax and enjoy themselves.
They do.
Right.
They do.
Okay, back to business for a second.
Okay.
We talked about his cautious side.
Yeah.
But he's also made some big, bold bets.
He has.
Right. How do those two sides coexist?
Well, I think it's about calculated risk.
Okay.
He has that margin of safety concept and looking for undervalued companies to limit his downside. But within that framework, he's willing to go all in when he sees a truly great opportunity.
So it's not about avoiding risk.
Right.
It's about knowing when to embrace it.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
It's that discernment, that ability to read the situation and make the call, not just blindly following the crowd.
You know, another thing I've always admired about him
is
how he explains complex things so simply.
He does.
Right? His shareholder letters?
Oh, yeah.
They're like mini business lessons.
They are.
Why do you think that communication skill has been so important to his success?
Well, I think it builds trust. Oh. When you can explain your thinking clearly, people understand your decisions.
Right.
They understand your vision.
Yeah.
And that makes them more likely to follow you.
Right.
To invest with you.
Yeah.
His letters aren't just numbers.
Right.
It's stories.
Yeah.
Wisdom, humor. He makes it relatable.
Yeah.
Even enjoyable.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Okay, last thing before we wrap up this part.
Okay.
He's been pretty outspoken on social and political issues.
He has.
Right? Yeah. Healthcare taxes, even climate change.
Yeah.
Do you think that's part of his legacy too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he's using his platform to advocate for things he believes in.
Right.
Fairness, equality, responsible business.
Yeah.
It shows that he's not just about making money.
Right.
He's about making a difference.
It's like financial success is great.
Yeah.
But it's what you do with it
that
really matters.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a wrap on part 2.
Wow.
We covered a lot of ground.
We did.
From index funds to bridge games to the bigger picture of what success actually means.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive podcast. It's our final look, into the world of Warren Buffett.
It has been quite a journey.
It really has. We explore his early life, his investment strategies, even his love for bridge.
It's amazing all the things that we've learned.
Yeah, and hopefully a lot of good insights for our listeners who are building their careers.
Right.
So as we wrap up, let's distill some key takeaways here.
Okay.
What are the big lessons we can learn from Buffett? Especially for those of us, 25 to 55, trying to make our mark on the world.
I think one of the biggest ones that jumps out at me is that long-term thinking.
Yeah.
He is a master of patience.
Yeah.
Letting his investments compound over decades.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that real wealth, real success, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
We live in a world that's so obsessed with instant gratification.
It is, yeah.
But Buffett's like slow and steady wins the race.
It's so important, especially, today when everything feels so fast-paced.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's not like he's stuck in his ways.
Yeah.
Right?
No, not at all.
Like he's always learning.
He is.
Adapting.
Yeah.
How does that all fit in?
Well, I think it's about having core principles, but also being flexible.
Okay.
So, his value investing philosophy, that's his foundation.
Right.
But he's always reading, he's learning. Yeah. He adjusts his strategies,
As the world changes.
As the world changes, exactly. It's like having a compass.
Yeah.
But being willing to adjust your course as you navigate new terrain.
You got to stay nimble.
You got to stay nimble, exactly.
Okay, another thing that strikes me about him is his integrity.
Oh, absolutely.
Like he's known for being honest.
Yes.
Fair.
Yeah.
Just generally a good guy.
A good guy, right?
It seems like that's played a big role in his success too, right?
It has.
And not just the financial smarts.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
People trust him.
Right.
They know he's not just out to make a quick buck.
Yeah.
His word is his bond.
Right.
And that kind of reputation is invaluable.
Yeah.
Especially in the long run. It attracts the right people.
Yeah.
The right opportunities.
It's like he understands that success is about more than just numbers on a balance sheet.
It's about building a legacy.
Exactly. And his philanthropy speaks to that too, right? Giving away most of his wealth, that's a whole other level of commitment.
Yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's like he's saying, I've been fortunate, now it's time to give back.
Yeah.
And he's tackling big issues.
Yeah.
Partnering with organizations he believes in.
Right.
I think it's a powerful message for all of us.
It is.
Success isn't just about what you gain. Right. It's about what you give back.
I think that sums up our deep dive into Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
Pretty nicely.
Yeah. It's been fascinating.
It really has, exploring his achievements, his strategies.
Right.
His values.
His values, absolutely.
And it's been such a pleasure having you here.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure being here.
To break down all this amazing information about Warren Buffett.
Yeah, he's a fascinating guy.
He is.
And hopefully our listeners, have gotten some valuable insights.
Absolutely. And to all of you listening,
we would love to hear your thoughts. What struck you the most about Buffett's journey?
You know what lessons will you take away and apply to your own lives? Let us know in the comments. And be sure to join us next time for another deep dive into a topic that matters to you. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep striving for your own version of success.